Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, June 21st. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of things. Number one, if you do have a request for a future video in terms of an analysis you would like me to do, just put a comment down below the ticker symbol and I'll do my best to get to it. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. And then also the candlestick you see right there is still moving. That is because the market's open for a small amount of time. And I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement, actually like we're doing on this one here. So stock number one, ticker symbol GRDI, and pretty nasty pullback here. So hopefully the people that were buying there and there are using some sort of stop loss because this thing got ugly in a hurry. But on that note, it is still above quite a few areas of support, and namely the level. And so if I like to call these ones kind of opportunity ugly, because there's no doubt about it, right now things are pretty ugly. But if this thing can pull back some more, then you have a pretty interesting situation down here right around that 88-cent mark. You have the previous lows right here, and then you also have these moving averages, keyword being moving. So as time goes by, on Friday, especially that purple line, it's going to move itself upwards. So does it get to the point where you have both the moving average and that level essentially kind of at the same level? So that's kind of an initial question to throw out there. And then, of course, the other question is, does this thing continue to get more ugly and pull back that much more? So if it doesn't pull back any further, well, then everything I'm talking about right now kind of is a moot point. But regardless, if this thing does pull back more, then you have yourself a very interesting situation from a risk-reward scenario. Of course, if you're not disciplined, if you're not going to honor stop losses, I mean, you shouldn't even be trading, but that's a whole nother video discussion. But you definitely should avoid these if you're not going to be disciplined. But if you can be disciplined, then again, from a risk-reward scenario, you could be looking at a good set of circumstances if it comes down here and potentially gets some sort of bounce back in the upwards direction. Next one here, MGOL, same general premise that I just talked about in terms of, yeah, at one point this thing was looking very strong. I mean, absolutely insane to think that there were some poor souls that were buying up there. Like I said, for their sake, I hope they're using a stop loss because, yes, as of now, things are very, very ugly. But as I just talked about, I'm going to go through this a little quicker because I want to respect your time. Same general idea. Can this thing get a little bit more ugly? Because if it can and comes down to this area, well, now all of a sudden you have the price right around these moving averages. And while nothing is guaranteed, it is certainly a valid, reasonable thought that maybe the price comes down here, finds some buyers at these moving averages, and gets a bounce back in the upwards direction. Once more, I am presupposing that you are going to be a disciplined trader, that you are going to honor those stops and all that sort of stuff. Because if you can do that, then like the first one, you could definitely structure yourself a very interesting risk versus reward scenario. Next one here, Nvidia, NVDA, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched previous videos. But if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that 129.80 mark, that green line there as a key level of support. And I mean the power of charts. So I'm not patting myself on the back. I am bragging about charts though because, and now I realize if this is your first ever video, whatever, you don't believe me, I'm not offended by that at all. All I can really say is just go back in the video archive, watch a previous top 10 video, and you'll see that I had this line in place already. But right here, the power of charts, not once, but twice the price came down there, acted beautifully, acted just like you would want to see it act in regards to support. So if you haven't connected those dots, definitely the main area of support and level to continue to watch from that vantage point right there at the 129.80. In terms of areas of resistance right now, key battleground to watch is that purple line right there, 50 period moving average. And this is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And we have that right here. It was broken below right there. And then on the bounce was rejected both there and there. So I'm not saying the price can never get up above that 133.20-ish area. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price is currently struggling at that area. But keep an eye on that general level if this bounce is going to get any sort of general strength back in the upwards direction. But yes, bigger pullback today. Overall, though, the trend is still in the bull's favor. Next one, ALUR. Nice pattern here. So let's just get this pattern drawn into play. So top part of the pattern right there. And then we have this part of the pattern right there. Let me change that to green to represent support. And then maybe make the pattern just the same color to hopefully make it easier to see. So we have resistance, we have support, we have the explosive move right here. If you golfers try to make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here. So this would be a bull pennant pattern. So while nothing is guaranteed, certainly plausible and reasonable to think that if the price were to come up here and get a break up through that top part of the pattern, that break right there, even if you just want to call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, but whatever you want to call it, a break of that level could very realistically lead to more volume and then a surge in, momentum back in the upwards direction. So if you like stocks down below $5, you like bull pennant patterns, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one, NKLA, very, very brutal move on this one today. It had the gap down right there, and then the opening 30 minutes, just a nasty red candle. Tried to bounce, but that was just a dead cat bounce, and now it's rolled back over. And as I speak right now, price is essentially putting in new lows on the day. So definitely a rough day, and you can see here, in fact, I'm going to go to the 4-hour time frame, meaning each one of these represents 4 hours. And even on that, you can see, I don't know, is this at all-time lows? No, I'm curious. Let's go to the daily time frame. Oh, this is, okay, I didn't realize it was that bad. Yeah, so we are at all-time lows today. So now daily time frame, meaning each of these represents an entire day. But let's just go back to the 30-minute time frame because there you have it, all-time low. So pretty much a reverse blue sky breakout. You have a break to the downside, and because as you just saw right there, there's no other data points, not really any way to try to figure out where potential areas of support are at. But what's interesting is this is a relatively popular stock, got a kind of a cult-like following, and you have a very just well-defined, nasty trend line right there. So when you have a lot of people probably watching the same level, and then you have a lot of people just watching the stock in general, it doesn't guarantee anything, but again, it can create some of those self-fulfilling prophecies. So if the price can level off and get a break up through there, does that create a bounce? Even if it's just a dead cat bounce, from a trading standpoint, dead cat bounces can still be very, very profitable. But the core point here is that this thing has been absolutely beat down. It's a relatively popular stock, borderline cult-like stock. And, people are looking for any excuse at all to buy. So can it break that level? And if so, does that create even if it's just a little kind of knee-jerk reaction, dead cat bounce? If you like these sorts of scenarios, you like penny stocks, definitely keep an eye on it. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the page you can use to sign up. So definitely do that. Now, one special note, it is a genuine live event. So maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening, or maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you just totally missed it. Go ahead, send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay after the event completes. But if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. Next one, ticker symbol ZAPP. And again, on one of these rougher on the pullback here, but even with the pullback, still have an overall pattern in place. Let me just get the top of this pattern in motion there. So we have a resistance part right there. And we have our support down there, which makes this very interesting because as you can see, as I'm speaking right now, the price is approaching the bottom part of this pattern here. And then just from a pattern standpoint, let me make it all one color, easier to see. So resistance, support, explosive move right there. This would be a bull flag pattern. So just to remind everybody, just because something's bullish in pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed it's going to go back up. But I don't think anybody would be shocked to say, oh, look, it bounced off the lower part and headed back up. And of course, if it gets up there and breaks up through there, then who knows what a break right there it could create. But more of the story here is if you like bull flag patterns, particularly when they're in the pullback phase of the bull flag, you like stocks down below $5, definitely keep an eye on it. Next, RELI, and I like this one quite a bit just because there's such a well-defined breakout point here. So as I draw this, I'm not trying to claim like this is some sort of great discovery or anything like that. I assure you a lot of people have drawn a line very similar to that. And I say that just because when a lot of people are watching the same lines and wondering the same things, as I mentioned earlier, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movement. So no guarantees, but certainly plausible if the price comes up there and breaks up through that level right there, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure. And really it's as straightforward as that. I guess just from a support standpoint, you have a little bit of a trend line right there. From the overarching standpoint, you have the purple line there, 50-period moving average. But like I said, for me, I think the most interesting and most entertaining dynamic about this one is all about that trend line right there. Price has gone sideways, so is the consolidation done? Is this thing getting ready to head back upwards? If you like penny stocks, you like these sorts of questions and scenarios, then certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, TSLA Tesla. And overall, pulled back today, but I wouldn't call it a train wreck or anything like that, mainly because the price hasn't gone below any of these key levels. So let's just first start with the key level from a support standpoint, which is all about the pink line right here, 200-period moving average. You can see held strong, held strong, held strong. And yeah, it got somewhat close today, but still hasn't even tested that level. Now, if the price were to break down below there, that's where the discussion begins to change a little bit. But as of right now, that level has, not only has it held strong, it hasn't even been tested. But nonetheless, right around 178.30 going to be that key level of support moving forward. And then in terms of areas of resistance, the one update here that now needs to be factored in from a resistance standpoint is that purple line. As I mentioned earlier, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And you can see right there on that candle, the price did break below there. So at that point, went to acting as resistance, had a false breakout there, but fell back below it, and then it went right back to acting as resistance both there and there. So keep an eye on 182.80 as that initial area of resistance. If the price can't push up through there, the next key area of resistance right there at 185.30. Next one, AMD, and overall, a good solid day today. Sure, it pulled back some, but when you factor in where it was previous day and now all the way up there, anyway, look at it, good solid movement here. So moving forward, the ideal level of support that you definitely want to see the hold strong is going to be that purple line there, 50-period moving average. And I'm not saying this is what's going to occur, but the reason why I would definitely consider that very important is if the price were to come down there and then break through that purple line, what would that be doing to the price? That would essentially be putting the price right back in this area where it started, which, not to insult your intelligence, but not exactly a sign of genuine power when something spikes and then goes right back to where it was. So again, I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but just explaining why in my mind that right around 158.50 is an important level from a support standpoint. And then in terms of areas of resistance, main battleground to watch in the very near term, right up there at the 163.10 mark. And then of course you have the level up there, but one hurdle at a time. Let's first see if it can clear 163.10. Next one, TQQQ, finally decided to act human a little bit with more of a pullback. The one dynamic to point out, and this will mean more of those that have watched past videos, but again, you just can't make this stuff up, the power of charts. So I'll turn that into a quick plug. Go get signed up for that free class, because right here you can see I've had this red line in place. Like I said earlier, if you don't believe me, just go watch a previous video. 77.65, and look right where it got rejected this morning, right at that red line. Now, did anybody know that it was going to get that nasty? No, nobody knew that. But it also came down, broke below that purple line. So as I've said, was a support. Now you would expect to act as resistance, and that's exactly what's happened here. So right there, resistance. So in the very near term, key level of resistance now going to be the purple line, which currently valued at, we'll call it 75.65. So keep a close eye on that. And then again, from the overarching standpoint, key level of resistance remains up there at 77.65. In regards to levels of support, key level to watch very closely now is going to be essentially this double bottom point right here at 74.25. If 74.25 cannot hold, the next key area after that be down there right around the 72.75 mark. So definitely some more, wiggle room there for the price to potentially pick up some more downside pressure. But all things considered, when I extend it out like this, you can see the overall trend still plenty in the upwards direction. For you Bitcoin traders, I'll get to the Bitcoin analysis here in just a second. But for you stock traders, again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool, go get signed up for the free live class. It'll be this evening, Thursday, June 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But as I discussed earlier, if you can't make it live for whatever reason, go ahead, send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay. Now let's talk some Bitcoin. One quick clarification here. I'm now using the 4-hour time frame, and each of these represents 4 hours. Bitcoin is open 24/7, so I want this analysis to remain relevant for as long as possible, and the 4-hour helps me do that. But overall, Bitcoin is continuing to just chop around, and the levels that I've talked about are still, holding strong in terms of their significance. The main level, which should sound familiar now, purple line, 50-period moving average. It's been an area of resistance, and if you watched the previous video, I talked about that, and check it out. Nice little bounce here, but you can see ultimately where it ran out of strength, right at that purple line before getting rejected back down. So question number one, you're going to need to ask yourself, whether you're watching this video an hour after I upload it or 10 hours or 20 hours after I upload it, first question, where is the price at relative to that purple line? If you're answering the question that the price is still down below the purple line, then at that point, the bears are still in charge, right? There's a downtrend right now. It's representing the bears. So it's, very straightforward way to gauge that. If you're answering the question, whenever you're watching this, if it's down below the 50-period moving average, bears are still in full control. Now, if you're saying, well, actually, Clay, the price is up above that purple line right there, fantastic. That's some good bullishness occurring. How much bullishness? Well, don't overthink it. How far up above the 50-period moving average is it? The further up above that purple line, the more bullish the scenario has become. And then if you're saying, well, Clay, the price is still down below the purple line, Where's the price at relative to 63,500? If you're answering the question that the price is down below there, that means that, yes, not only are the bears still in charge, but they've gotten that much more in charge. They've gotten that much stronger, because that would imply that the price not only has gone down to that low and broken through it, it's also broken down through this other area of support. So that would be a very, very bearish scenario if somehow you find yourself answering the question that the price is down below 63,500. So watch these levels, ask yourself those questions, and regardless of when you're watching this video, that'll keep the analysis relevant for as long as possible. Like I invited the stock traders, I'm inviting you as a Bitcoin and crypto trader. Go get signed up for the free webinar, because what you learn about in it can and definitely should be used within your crypto and Bitcoin trading. So like I said, it'll be this evening, Thursday, June 20th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. But if you can't make it live, then please send me an email, clay@claytrade.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, do a couple things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, tell me what you traded today, tell me your watch list for tomorrow, or like I said earlier, if you have a request, definitely leave that down in the comment section also. So go get signed up for that free webinar, and hopefully I'll be seeing you here in just a couple of hours.